ho ho guys, it's your boy Chuckles here with a very special Christmas review for you. This week we're taking a look at the brand new IWI licensed CTAR by Elite Force. Yes, baby. So as you guys know, Elite Force have been doing their Tavor line for a while. They have their competition line and then they have their pro line with a longer barrel. This is a little bit of an updated version. We're going to go over why I think this thing is a much better alternative than that old thing back there. So right off the bat, you can already tell the main difference between the original Tavor and the CTAR is the rail. That is a long rail you have up top. The sights are metal and they're integrated into the rail system, so you can flip them down. Boom, perfectly fine. You won't even tell that they're there until you flip them up. Boom. They are not adjustable for windage or elevation, but odds are they're not the best sights, as most Tavor sights kind of are. It utilizes the peephole with a front iron, so with all this rail space, there's no way you're not going to put an optic on this thing. Am I right? Next up, most of the Pro Line versions come with a full-length barrel. This actually comes with a CQB length barrel, which is much more ideal. The rifle's already long enough as it is. Your inner barrel is already really long, so just shortening it so you can get around corners. The whole point of having a CQB bullpup gun kind of is right there for you. On the left side of the gun, you have the charging handle. So just pull back on it. It's about a half pull for where the amount of space that you have. It is ambidextrous, so you can swap it, but it doesn't come stock on the right side. It comes on the left side, as most righty shooters would do. So then back here, on the back right side of the gun, you have the bolt. You have what would be the shell deflector, so that the shells wouldn't come right back at you. Just deflects it so it stays out of the way. But you can access the hop-up, which is a rotary style hop-up, and then the bolt release is right down here. On the old Tavor, this bolt release also functioned as a detensioner for the gearbox, and I'm going to go into why they got rid of that a little bit later. So, now, you have some QD sling points on the left and right side. I haven't been able to test out, I don't have any on hand, whether or not they'll work with actual QD sling points, but they seem like they'll do just fine. So dropping back, we have the selector switch. You have safe, you have semi, and fully automatic. The nice thing is that it's got a decent bit of distance from safe to fire. Just like on an M4, it's the same, about the 45 degrees, but it's not that far to hit it a full auto, which is really nice. Has a nice click into place. Doesn't really lock in super well, but you're not really going to run into any issues where your thumb, your hands aren't going to be able to hit it or whatever. The trigger, one of the cool things is that they moved on to the Amoeba style switch gearbox that they have in this. So the trigger pull is actually incredibly small in comparison to the old Tavor, which was spongy as all heck, and you had to just pull it all the way back and then hammer on it. No, not with this. You have that nice switch, which also means that this gun is always going to fully cycle every time you pull the trigger. It has cycle completion, which is super awesome, because rather than having to detension the gearbox, you pull the trigger and it's already like that. It's ready to go. Flip that on safe. The safety is ambidextrous. You'd have to pull off the upper, pull out the innards, flip it around, but you could do it if you really needed to. Moving further back, you have the magazine release, which you could say is ambidextrous. I can access it from either side. That one of the issues that I actually ran into when I ran a Tavor, I ran someone else's, is that the switch, the release was so light that I would be standing around. It had hit the top of the magazines on my play carrier. I'd lift my gun to go engage and the magazine would drop out. They fixed that problem by you have to really press down. It's a decent press, but you have to pull it out. So see here, normally if I hit the button, it would just drop. Thing is that the button is no longer that easy to press. So you really have to put a little bit of pressure behind it to get the magazine released. So the magazine will fall freely, but sometimes you can find initially they will be a little tight, not by any means, but pulling it out sometimes if you don't press all the way. It'll be a little difficult, but other than that, super easy, straightforward. We'll talk about the magazine while we're at it. Included is the 300 round Amoeba high cap magazine. So these, as you know, stock, they'll go for about 25 bucks a pop. These things have the fake mag pull on it. Nice little door, pour them in. So that these fit and feed just about anything, which is nice because that minimizes the amount of problems you have with magazine stock with your Tavor. And even though at the price point it comes at, it still comes with a high cap. It's pretty nice. Goes right in, uses M4 mags. Any other M4 mags, generally speaking, will be perfectly fine and acceptable to use in this. Under the hood, there's some serious internal upgrades that they made. So the gearbox is more of the amoeba style. So it has that micro switch that I talked about. It has cycle completion. This thing's good to go. It always completed. It's got that really nice switch. So that's very awesome. Another thing is that it actually, what they did is the other ones have the full blowback features, so the bolt would rock back whenever you pull the trigger. The good thing is they just removed that. A lot of people don't really see the need for that. Just a lot of unnecessary noise and wear and tear that you can kind of put on your gun. So they disengaged that, which was kind of nice. You have a couple of more features on top of that that allow for a much better performance weapon. So, let's take a quick peek. Quick change spring in the back of the stock. Good thing about the Tavor is it's super easy, unlike AUGs where you have to pull off the back panel. It's right there. Just get your flathead out. The thing's good to go. You can adjust your motor height right there. This will also come to the battery. So the battery doesn't go back here, even though there might be a decent bit of space. The battery's actually up front. So this has an Allen key hidden in the back stock. So, what you do, pull out that Allen key. Like the other Tavors, they have this button up front. You would press it down and you'd be able to pull it off, and then you'd access the battery space. But what you do is you grab this Allen key. There are two screws on either side right at the front, and you just unscrew them. Alright, so after you remove those two front screws, that is how you pull off the front handguard, which gives you access to the battery space. And the battery space is incredibly large. You can fit any number of batteries, brick types of any size. I was able to fit a really thick 1600 milliamp 11-1. Even if they're the 1300s that are more thick than they are wide, that'll still fit right in here. The gun does have a MOSFET, so you will be able to run 11-1 for the most optimal performance, best trigger response. Keep your gun running. It won't run the thing into the ground too hard. But that's kind of good that they got rid of the button. I never personally ran into some issues with just the button accidentally hitting it and then releasing the handguard, but I had heard some complaints from several players about that kind of an issue. So that's been absolved. You want to have the quickest battery change, but you don't need to carry extra tools on your person because it's already included in the gun, which I think is pretty cool. Just like kind of how they did with their haters and the smoke wagons, how the tools are self-contained. This just has the tool included, so it just makes it a lot easier for the user at the end of the day. So then, just in the back, you have this really nice butt pad. It's rubberized just about all the way around, so you really get a really positive grip. And as you can see on the left side of the body, you have those IWI Tavor trays. Tavor 21, 5.56 millimeter. IWI. Pretty sweet. Alright guys, enough talking. Let's take this thing over to the Chrono booth and see what kind of results we can get. Hey homies, what's up? It's your boy Chuckles. We out here. Got the new Boomer X Elite Force CTAR. Hooked up to an 11-1. This thing's minty. Ooh. Ripperoni. So as you can see from the Chrono test, we got about 325 to 330 to 35 feet per second with a 2 5-gram BB, so that's perfect for indoors, and it doesn't put you in too much of a disadvantage if you're going outdoors. Again, like I said, it has a quick change spring if you want to change that. This thing gets 20 rounds a second easy, so you'll be able to rip everybody with one of these things. It's very impressive, and if you couldn't hear the thing shooting on full auto, it definitely just sounds like it shreds. So definitely got an intimidation factor. So some final thoughts on the brand new CTAR. So this thing is brand new, fresh. This thing literally dropped like last week. We've been hearing about this. We've seen a few demo models, but now we finally have it in our hands. I am thoroughly impressed. The price point, albeit, is $35 more, so it'll be about $330, $499 for the retail price point. But you get so many more upgrades. You have the really nice Amoeba style gearbox. You have the switch rather than having the really long trigger pull. You have the Amoeba mags, which are, that'll add alone just about $10 to the gun itself. You have the quick change spring, you disengage the electric pullback, you have a shorter barrel, you have the full accessory top rail. You have so many other features and functions that this gun will kind of offer you. So, for only $35... Alright, try that again. So for only $35 more, shorter barrel, MOSFET, micro switch trigger, and a long top rail, solves all the problems that you had in Tavors of before. This is definitely worth that little bit of extra price point to get something that's got a little bit more performance under the hood. Definitely got to give this guy a check out. What do you guys think? Would you pick up one of these bad boys? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram for dank memes and event flyers. Check us out at ExtremeAirsoftRI.com to see our most upcoming events. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all you guys out there. Hope you enjoy this video. It's our Christmas present to you. Dank memes? A decent press, but you have to pull it out. So see here, normally if I hit the button, it would just drop. It did exactly the thing. Okay.